right, man. I got some other questions for you about your NFL career. So I hear NFL players used to eat a lot of carbs and you have to eat a lot of calories because you're burning them nonstop when you're training. What is the truth? What really happens in training camp and at practice when it comes to nutrition and meals?
I say training camp nutrition meals is very important because you're exerting a certain amount of energy, right? Throughout a practice, you are losing fluids, you're losing all these things. Your body's depleted, and you have to replenish all those things back. And using carbs as a source of energy, right, in your body is very important, because if you think you're just going to just take protein and just be able to power out through, 2 months of practices, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many calories does someone normally eat at the NFL level?
There's some guys who eat 7,000 calories a day.
That is a lot of food.
Yeah, man. I mean, some of these guys are trying to maintain weight that is not natural for them. I'm sure you've heard stories of Michael Phelps or Usain Bolt eating like copious amounts of chicken McNuggets.
Yeah.
At the Olympics, just because they need calories. So it's dirty calories, but nonetheless it's calories for to be able to have the output for multiple events, multiple days of fighting, pretty much.
I feel like carbs get a bad rep. I feel like people are constantly on these like low carb diets now, and everyone just assumes that if I just eliminate carbs from my diet, that everything's going to be okay. What's your stance on that?
You're absolutely incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your muscles are going to be deflated. You are not going to have the same brain function. You're not going to have the same energy. All those things are important to be an elite athlete, but also to be at your best, highest performance level as a human being. Nothing really changes in terms of that. You portionality if you're working at a desk job, and then portionality when you're working out on the field, right? It all kind of yin yangs.
It's crazy. I talk to tons of entrepreneurs all the time, and so many people, myself included, like we're constantly skipping meals. Not because we're not hungry. I mean, sometimes we're not hungry at all, but it's usually just because like our minds are so bogged down by the amount of work that we have to complete in a 24-hour day that we just power through. Mm-hmm. And then our bodies deteriorate over time because we're just not getting the right nutrition, we're not taking care of ourselves. And so, I mean, are there any pieces of advice you would give, whether it's like a young kid trying to make it into the NFL or an entrepreneur skipping meals or anything like that? Like what is, in your opinion, the right approach to carbs? I mean, I understand moderation, but do you listen to the dietitians and the doctors? Do you just eat what you want and you just have to make sure that you're in moderation?
I believe that having the proper macros is very important. I think that people don't think about that at all. They just think like, oh man, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating a whole watermelon, right? And you're like, well, hold on, bro. You know what I mean? Like, there's actually a lot of sugar in that. You know what I mean? Like, your portionality matters. So instead of sitting down and eating the whole thing and having 100 grams of carbs, have your couple slices. You know what I mean? And get your 30, 40 carbs, and be done.
Yeah.
Even though it tastes delicious, it's the same as heroin, right? In your body, it gives you the same dopamine hit.
Really, sugar and heroin, same dopamine hit? That's wild.
I've never done heroin, but that's what I've heard.
I think I've heard that too, but it's just one of those things I don't think about that often. I guess I feel like with entrepreneurs that are skipping meals and like everything else that happens, I can speak from firsthand experience, right? Like if you take care of your body, it's going to make your work that much better, right? You're not going to be as miserable. You're not going to be as tired. When you're tired, your creativity like dips, your functionality dips. You're just not able to focus as much. You're irritable, which I found to be a problem. Like some of my business partners, they make fun of me. There's like a moment where I'm hangry and like I'll just like lash out at people around me. And it's like the Snickers commercial, right? As soon as you take me out to eat and I get some food in me, I'm back to being like the nice jovial version of myself. But it's just one of those things where you have to figure out how to prioritize your body and your health. And otherwise it's going to bleed out into every other aspect of your career, your family, your friendships, everything.
Yeah. And I would say another big part that's missing in that is you're slowing down your metabolism.
Yeah.
Right. You're taking these. I understand there's people who don't eat for a certain amount of hours in a day, right? But if you're consistently doing something, like we talked about earlier, it's a lot different than, oh, like, man, I just forgot to eat and now it's dinner time and I just ran over to Jack in the Box and boom, boom, boom. Now I'm nice and full before I go to bed and all that stuff is sitting on you, right?
Yeah.
But now your metabolism has slowed down. So now that stuff is sitting on you in your stomach and now it's going to sit on your body. And that does not take long for that like compounding effect to happen. And you're just not going to get the results you want. And you're going to be wondering why.
So tell us the truth. What is your go-to cheat meal?
If diabetes was not a thing, I'm going apple cobbler.
Okay.
Walnut apple cobbler, right? Nice large scoop of vanilla ice cream on there.
Just one slice of apple cobbler or
No,
like a whole pie?
I like the pan.
Okay. The pan. I heard a cheat meal. I understand. Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, a cheat isn't really a thing for me because I eat normally. I don't eat in excess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So knowing that my food weighs this much, I have this much protein in here, and we have the scale at home, people think it's like such a hard concept, you know? But it really takes us a couple of seconds. And then you have all these apps on phones now where you can log stuff in. And when you do that, you know, MyFitnessPal or whatever it is, you start doing that over time. And you just, every time you look in the mirror, you're like, oh man, there's a new line, you know?
Yeah.
And that in itself is motivating, right?
It doesn't happen to my friend Tito, but clearly it happens to guys like you or me, right? I think, poor Tito, man. I think the idea of accountability is everything when it comes to your body, right? And man, like I think Will Smith has that thing where it's like, yo, I could really use that slice of pizza. I'm gonna feel really good. It looks delicious, but then I'm gonna feel terrible about it the next day. Mm-hmm. And you just have to have the discipline to say no.
Yeah.
Right. To the temptation of delicious food sometimes. But in the NFL, do they like partner you with a nutritionist or like a chef and all that? Like, how does that work?
No. I mean, you're getting paid a salary, right? And now you have to divvy up on your own. Like, okay, I'm going to spend this much on this. I'm going to spend this much on going to the hyperbaric chamber. I'm going to, you know? And so obviously the guys who earn a lot more, all their stuff dialed in. You know, they have chefs at their house. Like
yeah.
One of my homegirls, Chef Damo, back in LA, you know, she cooks for athletes. And it's very beneficial for them because there's no guessing game.
Right.
They know exactly what they're getting and that's what they need. But for the average person, I know I was talking to my mom and she's like, oh, I ate like a bag of pistachios. Like, that's healthy, right? And I'm like, Mom, you know how much fat that is? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is healthy in the right amount. Everything is moderation.
So do you think that the food pyramid and like the nutrition facts panels are what you should be basing these off of? Like the decisions of like what the moderation is? Because I bet that pistachio bag was like 6 pistachios is 1 serving or some nonsense like that, right?
No one even like
6 pistachios, like just me getting a handful is like 30 pistachios, right? Going into my mouth at that point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about that kind of stuff?
I think when it comes to packaging, a lot of stuff just goes out of people's mind. We hear nuts are healthy, fruits are healthy, XYZ is healthy, but how much of it can you take in before it starts to affect you poorly in a negative effect?
Wait, so you're saying that I'm only allowed 6 pistachios?
Hey man, if that's what it says, and you have 15 grams of fat left in your diet for the day, right? And you grab that handful of pistachios and you bust down on it, right? That's it, bro. It's time to go to bed. Lay it down, you know?
So you think the percentage daily value thing is accurate and you look the way you do because you follow that. And now I'm going to have to also have some discipline myself for sure. I feel like all you've seen me do is eat dessert since you've landed, or at least Tito's only seen me eat dessert. He's joined me though, so it's okay, right? As long as I have an accountability partner that like is also sitting. Yeah, Tito, we saw you take that scoop of ice cream. He can't even defend himself.
Nice double.
Yeah.
But I also, I think what's also very important is like people do things that they did in their past thinking that they're going to be able to do it again. In college, you might be able to go drink 4 or 5 times in a week, right? Now, if you're super active, it might not show up. But why do they call it the freshman 15, right? Because maybe you were in high school and you were super active. You get to college, you continue drinking, all of a sudden you blow up. You're not as active anymore. So like, it's the same thing with athletes. So once those guys who are eating 7,000, 8,000 calories in a day, if they don't pull that back when they get done, it's going to turn real bad.
Is that why NFL athletes can't stay in shape after they retire?
I mean, yeah, putting down the fork is a hard thing for some people, you know? And also, like I was saying, the carbs, it gives you a good feeling in your body, right?
Yeah.
But it's not a good thing for you. That's why if you stop eating carbs for a while, you lose that desire when you walk by and you see that piece of pie and you're like, damn, I know that I love that, you know, but I don't desire it the way I used to.
Man.
Or changing up the carbs you eat, right? Like now I eat a lot of yams, a lot of sweet potatoes. I put coconut oil inside of them. I put cinnamon to dress it up. That's like a dessert, you know?
Yeah.
It tastes good, but it's also giving me my good fats. It's giving me my good carbs. And the cinnamon helps with the diabetes and blood sugar stuff.
Man, that's definitely a change. Yams over pizza. Yeah, but from a guy who talks about Italy and how much he loved the pasta and everything else. But again, I guess moderation, right?
Yeah.
That's what really matters.
No moderation when I'm over there.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm not
Well,
doing
you don't
that.
have to, right? Because over there, no matter how much you eat, nothing happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. Man. So I guess I just want to close out with, I mean, for everyone at home, like with heat wave and carbivore, is there anything you want to tell them before we sign off?
The carbivore, I feel like, is the stabilizer for just everyday living. You want to have steady energy, right? You want to have a good balance between your fat and muscle ratio. This is the product for you right here. Those GLPs, and adding this, you know, this is money right here. And then in terms of the heat wave, having that nootropic that allows you to have that brain to muscle connection while you're working out, that helps me dial in more, right? When I hit that peak on my curl and I feel like it's about to split, you know, like to me, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I know what the result is going to come from that. So having that, but also not being cracked out.
For sure.
Taking too much caffeine, right? Having that L-theanine in there to make things more smooth, more balanced. And then also to be able to gain muscle while actually losing fat. That doesn't happen, right? So This is a very important product to be putting in your body if you have goals to attain.